they had to change it on the way. He's obviously determined that there was a problem on the way to the pit, on the way to the grid, is he? Gasly's starting from the pit lane, but it doesn't really. Oh, I need to get these lights on. Gasly's starting from the pit lane, but it doesn't really matter because he was 20th anyway. So, but hello, CB, Tilbo, or Quinto. Oh, well, that is a bit of a cluster. I haven't been able to watch any of it. We've had people over. So I haven't been able to catch any of the build-up at all. So I have missed this drama. Do you know what the problem with the throttle is? How are you, Quinto? I'm amazed Checo isn't having to start from the pits, honestly. I'm sure Lando will be fine. Oh, one sec. Oh, right, sorry. No. Hamilton's definitely not winning this race. The Mercedes didn't have great race pace around here. And it's hot conditions, and the Merc does not like hot conditions. It's definitely going to be McLaren or Max. Lewis isn't going to have the pace. Lewis will drop off 100%. I think Lewis will be lucky to stay ahead of both of the Ferraris, honestly. Afternoon, Shock. I'm not 100% sure on the weather forecast. And for instance, Lewis was 6/10 off pole position around this sort of track. That is a lot. That is a lot. And Hungary was a great race for them last year in terms of qualifying. Oof, that's rough, man. Russell win, yeah. Russell, was it 17th Russell starting? Rough, it. Yeah, it's definitely a hard passing circuit. This is going to be all about tire deg, and that's why it's going to suck for Mercedes, but it's going to work well for Red Bull, I think. The question is, do McLaren have the race pace? That's the question. I feel like if McLaren don't win this race, oof. How many times has Norris put himself in a position to win, but then he's ended up not winning? It's been a lot, isn't it? So, Norris, Piastri, Verstappen, Sainz, Hamilton, Leclerc, all on mediums, but the two Aston Martins are starting on softs in 7th and 8th, so expect them to get a good start. Then we have Ricciardo, Tsunoda, Hulkenberg, Bottas are on mediums, Albon and Magnussen are both on softs, and then Perez and Russell are starting on hards. So those Aston Martins could be pretty quick off the lines on those fresh softs. Also, I've said this a few times, but we'll say it again. For whatever reason, that McLaren seems to come into its own in the second half of races. It seems to do really well in the second half when it's on the right tyres. So even if the McLaren struggles in the first stint, it doesn't necessarily, mean anything. We've seen that a few times this year where Max has pulled away in a first stint from Lando, but then in the second stint, Lando's pulled that back. So it's something that we have seen. The McLaren tends to do better on lower fuel. Lando's car is fixed, everyone. But he's got to now put confidence in that car and that throttle, knowing that it's been changed. So yeah, it is kind of the opposite. Red Bull seem to do well and manage those tires really well on higher fuel loads, whereas the McLaren does seem to be a lot better on the lower fuel. The pack is really spread out. Norris is coming onto the pit straight, and I think Ocon's only just going through turns the 6-7 chicane. Now it's not been raining, Welly. Bottas isn't going to do any bowling. It's not been raining. I've seen some of it raging. We did. Oh, we did go to Scotland to see the Open. Yeah. I had a good time. Yeah, Adam was pretty unwell, to be fair. He's had the cold, flu, or whatever. Johnny started coughing on the way back, so I'm sure Johnny will get it. I feel fine at the minute. However, I got home and Joe was unwell as well. So she's caught it while I've been away. So I'll get it. Right, green flag. 1 light, 2 lights, 3 lights, 4, 5. Go. Good start from Lando. Really good start from Lando. Oh, Verstappen. Verstappen's off. Verstappen's off. He's gone wide. Oh, Hamilton got pushed wide by Verstappen. He is ahead of one of the Ferraris. Yeah, I don't know. Oh, I don't know about that. Adam, thank you very, very much for the raid. Welcome, Muse. How are you feeling, Adam? I hope you're feeling a little bit better. Oh, Christ, I didn't even realise that it was Piastri in turn 1. During all the kerfuffle, I thought it was Norris. I'd need to see the replay of that. Yeah, I need to see that again. I could just rewind. Go on, Piastri. Russell made a position. Perez has lost places. Perez has been overtaken by Logan Sargent at the start of the race, guys. Verstappen noted for leaving the track and gaining an advantage. Here's the question: what could he possibly do now, though? Could he just give Norris the position back on track? Oh, this nonsense of I was ahead at the apex, so I fucking hate these rulings. Just smash it in as fast as you can so that you're ahead at the apex and then GG. Like, I hate it so much. Wait, hold on. How the hell did Sainz drop to 7th? How did Sainz drop to 7th and Charles Leclerc make it up to 5th? Honestly, I missed that. I just assumed it was the other way around. Yeah, what Norris is saying is right. He was only ahead because he braked too deep to try and be favourable with the rules, knowing he would go off. And you can't keep having that situation where drivers brake so late, knowing that, well, I'll be ahead of the apex, so you can't have that. However, I need to see it back because I need to see it again. Verstappen's been told to let Lando back past. Oh, he's backing out. He's backing out. He's lost so much time doing it there. He's done it. He let him through. Well, it's not dumb if, and again, like I say, I need to see it back, right? It's not dumb if a driver goes so deep into a corner, they know they can't make it, but they'll be able to claim they were ahead at the apex. Like that's not okay whether it's the first corner, first lap, last lap. We've got to get out of that mentality. Now, again, like I say, I need to see it back because I don't 100% know. I'd have to visually see it. The irony of Verstappen saying, "Is this how we're going to race now? Driving people off the road." Is he having a laugh? Is he having a laugh? Like, seriously, guys, come on. The irony of what he's saying is fucking hilarious. I mean, that is unbelievable. It's unbelievable. Right, here's the replay of the start. Let's have a look. Let's have a look. So Piastri had a really good start down the inside. Really, really good start. I was so focused on Norris and Verstappen. Oh, it's a tough one, that. It's a tough one. Because it's 3 wide. Norris hasn't pushed Max off. He's just avoiding his teammate. There just wasn't enough room. But I also... Here's the problem. Here's the problem. Max went off, but he gained from it. Max went off, but he gained from it. If he doesn't go off, Norris probably keeps that position. So it's fair. It has to be fair. You can't just run off and then say, oh, and then gain from it. Because Max didn't have to take the acute corner. That's 100% correct. He had to give that position back. I don't care what anyone says. He has to have given that back. You can't just you can't just go off like that. You had to just get out of it and slot behind Lando. You can't gain an advantage from that. It was the exact same that Hamilton had. Like, I'd like to see it from the onboard of Max Verstappen, to be honest. But if you see it, he's going into the corner 3 wide just behind Lando, and he breezes past because he doesn't have to take the corner, and he's a car length ahead. Like, you can't not agree that he definitely gained from going off the track, and that's, I think, the issue, isn't it? What I just find interesting is whether you agree with the ruling or not. Max has made a whole career of doing moves like... I don't even think Lando pushed him off, by the way. Lando was just avoiding his teammate on his inside. But Max has made a career of pushing people off track. And then when he perceives it's done to him, he has a full fucking meltdown in the car. Like, I mean, fucking pot kettle black. Unbelievable. The irony of that is crazy, honestly. He does that week in, week out. Yeah, this whole being ahead at the apex needs reviewing, because what drivers are doing, and I'm not saying Max did it in that instance, but what drivers are doing is braking so late for a corner that they get ahead at the apex. Even if they're going to make that corner successfully or not, they can then claim they were ahead at the apex, so it's my right of way. And there needs to be some common sense. There needs to be some common sense. And I think there isn't any common sense at the minute. I think that this whole ahead at the apex rule isn't really fit for purpose, I don't think. So, yeah. Interesting. Yeah, I need to see what happened to Sainz, because he was ahead of Leclerc, but he's ended up behind him. I need to see what happened. Did anyone see what happened to Sainz? How did he end up behind Leclerc and Alonso? So one of the Astons is in now, Alonso. One of the RBs, George Russell, now is benefiting from that. He's up to 10th now because of all these pit stops, but he's running long. So that will definitely benefit George Russell because he's going to run long. So that's great for him. Get all these cars out of the way and then he can run at his true pace. Yeah, honestly, Jal, this ahead at the apex thing, I absolutely hate. I think it's a stupid rule. It's a stupid rule, but I just feel like there's a lack of common sense. I understand there needs to be clarity on the overtaking rules, but the ahead at the apex one, as Tilbo has rightly said there, it does promote that drivers just diving, just even if they're not in full control of their car, just to be ahead at the apex. Yeah, I mean, maybe they could use the, the whole telemetry to work out braking points, but some drivers brake later, some drivers brake earlier. They all have different techniques. I'm not sure that would be a consistent way of doing it. But yeah, the only thing I will say, as Welly, I think, is alluding to there, is at least consistent. Which race was it? Was it last race or the race? No. Was it Spain where Lewis gained an advantage going off and he gave the position back? And so the stewards then went, no investigation, because he gave the position back. And because of that, the same things happened here. At least it's consistent. Austria. There you go. It was Austria, wasn't it? Yeah. So that's a positive we can take from that. Logan Sargent is now pitting. I'm surprised Stroll is still out on the softs. He's the only runner that stayed out on the soft tyres. All the other ones on the softs have pitted. So, yeah. I mean, it's pretty stable at the front. Norris, 2.7 behind Piastri, but he'll definitely be managing his pace. Same with Verstappen, Hamilton, Leclerc, Sainz. They'll all just be managing pace at this stage of the race, I think. Perez is now running right behind Russell on the road, currently 10th and 11th, but all the cars ahead of them, or most of them, have pitted, which is why they've made that gain. Crone, thank you for the 21 months. I can understand why you think it's harsh, Welly. I can completely relate to it. I can relate to both of them, I can. But I think in this instance, if you look at where Verstappen was in relative to Norris when they entered the corner and how far away he was able to pull away from him because he just floored it on the off track, I think you have to say he gained an advantage. He definitely did. And that's ultimately what the stewards are looking at. Did he go off and gain an advantage? And the answer is categorically yes. So, I mean... Yeah, we're just gonna have to see how this all pans out now. Will Verstappen have the pace? At the minute, I presume he's managing that pace because he's dropped back from Norris now. So I assume that he's just managing his pace. What we've seen over the course of the first part of this season and last season is that Norris, as a whole, tends to have better race pace than Piastri. So we'll see if that remains true or whether Piastri can... can push ahead in this race. He's obviously in a good position to do that. I think as we look at this race from lap 11, you'd have to say McLaren are in a prime position to win this race now. It is in their hands, right? And so if they don't win it, I think they would be, pretty disappointed. So we'll see. Piastri's putting in good lap times, so is Norris. Well, the last few races, I think, in Formula One have been really, really good. I think at the beginning of the season, when Red Bull were dominating with Max, I think everyone was already thinking this season's over. But I am glad to see that that hasn't been the case. And McLaren and Mercedes, Ferrari have all won races since then. And so... I genuinely think that the season has started to get way more interesting. And I think the second half of the season will be really, really good. So... I think a circuit like this would benefit from more pit stops. It's one of the ways they were looking to make Monaco more interesting, wasn't it? There's talks about having a certain tyre compound just for street circuits. And maybe changing the requirements of pitting in Monaco could spice things up. For instance, say Monaco has to be a minimum of a 2-stop or something, whatever it might be. Just to spice things up, you know? Yes, so McLaren and Red Bull both had 2 new sets of mediums and 2 new sets of hards going into the race. Mercedes only had 1 new set of mediums each, but 2 new sets of hards. So both McLaren and Red Bull had an extra set of new mediums, which Mercedes do not have. I think that's the same for Ferrari as well. So Russell's he's back in it now. Russell had dropped out of DRS of Bottas temporarily. Yes, McLaren absolutely could split strategies. I could say they've got a new set of softs. No, they don't have a new set of softs. That's a lie. But they do have two new sets of mediums. One of which they started the race on. Two new sets of hards. So the new set of mediums that Mercedes have will be the ones that both. Well, George will still have his set because he started on hards. So Hamilton started on a new set of mediums. He will have two new hards left, but no new mediums. So Mercedes with Hamilton could end up going medium, hard, hard, whereas the McLarens could go medium, medium, hard. The data that I don't have is how many laps those new set of mediums of Mercedes have done. That's a weird thing for Norris's engineer to say. Da, 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 so sorry, I was slightly wrong on the tires here. So Verstappen and Perez had two new mediums and one new hard. And the same for McLaren. So McLaren's had two mediums and one new hards, same as Red Bull. Whereas Mercedes have two new hards, one medium. So they've basically gone for alternate on what tires they've got available. So that's interesting. Alonso is not happy. Lance Stroll pitting from 8th. Yeah, F1's in the UK. F1's been on Sky for quite some time now. I'm not sure where it's available in Europe and what have you. Sky as well. I don't. You can get it on Now TV, but Now TV is also a partner of Sky. I'm not sure if it's owned by Sky actually. Hmm. Verstappen seems to be struggling, you know. Oh yeah, terrible stop for Lance Stroll. But why would you need the Now TV, right? Why would you need Now TV to be the Sky streaming service when they have Sky Go? And why wouldn't you just call it like Sky Streaming or Sky Plus or something? Why would you call it Now TV? Was it a separate company and then it was bought by Sky, or Sky always owned it? So, Piastri, currently ahead of Norris by 3.4 seconds. Last time across the line, Piastri did a 24.2. Norris also did a 24.2, so they're still pretty even. Verstappen is then a further 4 seconds behind, with Hamilton sort of 1.2-ish behind Verstappen. Hamilton is pitting. Okay. Okay. Hard tyres onto Lewis Hamilton. Oh, he's come out behind Yuki Tsunoda, but ahead of Russell and Perez. So he's actually only got Tsunoda ahead of him. That's actually could be pretty good, you know. It's interesting. Well, well, well. Okay, so it was it's Sky just branded differently. Okay, fair enough. I knew it was owned by Sky now, but I didn't know that they'd actually done it originally. So Norris is pitting as well. He's well over that curb. Jesus Christ. Oh! Heavily locks up there. I know Martin Brundle says it doesn't matter, but it doesn't matter if he didn't get down to the speed limit. It matters. Well, it wasn't the quickest of stops, but Hamilton with the fastest middle sector. Hamilton will get Yuki Tsunoda. I tell you what, the undercut is strong because Hamilton's not that far behind Norris. Yeah, so Verstappen and Piastri have both stayed out. I wonder if they'll pit Piastri now or not. I can't brake. I can't enter corners, front and rears. It's really bad. That's what Verstappen's saying. Max not having a fun time, is he? Now, here's something interesting as well. Here's something interesting. I know that they've probably pitted Lando to cover off Lewis, but normally it's the lead car that pits first. I guess they assume that Piastri will come out ahead of Norris. Because if Norris jumps Piastri now, I'd be fuming if I was Piastri. Because lead car does get strategy. No, he hasn't. Piastri has come out ahead. So he's all fine. That's status quo. Verstappen does now lead the race from Leclerc and Sainz, but none of those have pitted yet. Okay. Yeah, Lewis is pushing those tyres pretty hard. 23.3. Hmm. Yeah, Lando's about a second closer. Hamilton's obviously much closer to Norris because he was behind Verstappen. When Verstappen pits, he will come out behind Hamilton, but will obviously have fresher tyres. I think they are going for three. It looks like if Verstappen stays out, he's just going to do. He's going to try and do. Well, he's going to have to do a two-stop though, surely. Hamilton was half a second quicker than Norris. He did a 23.2, though. What lap times was Max doing? A 24.5. I mean, he's complaining, but I mean, Charles Leclerc and Carlos Sainz did a 24.6 and a 24.7, so he's still quicker than the two Ferraris, but he's saying he can't brake, he can't turn, he can't steer. Like, if you listen to Max, he's driving an absolute boat. Hamilton saying, this tyre definitely has less grip. Well, A, of course it does. It's the hard tyre. And you were on the medium. Captain Obvious, yes, it has less grip. That's kind of the point. Like, yes. Yes. And yeah, you did absolutely fucking batter them on the first two laps. Everyone's saying that you've got to bring these hard tyres in quite gently, and Lewis just went full fucking Karate Kid on them. Absolute Bruce Lee the shit out of those tyres. Hmm. Now they're pitting Verstappen. They're gonna pit one of the Ferraris as well. Hards for both cars by the looks of it. Sainz is pitting. Oh, again, it was a reasonably slow stop. 3 seconds, which is bad for them. Carlos Sainz as well on the hards. Pretty uneventful race at the minute for Russell and Perez. Admittedly, they've got themselves into the top 10, and all the other cars that were ahead of them have pitted. So they've actually got a pretty good track position, but they obviously haven't stopped yet and will still need to stop. But they're not really able to close in on Tsunoda at the minute. And Tsunoda's on the mediums. Perez and Russell are on the hards, and they've all done 21 laps on those tyres. So, this race is going to be all about strategy and pit stops, isn't it? That's what it's going to be all. Yeah, I remember that David Moyes quote. David Moyes says Man United must improve in a number of areas, including passing, creating chances, and defending. Oh, it's just everything then. Okay, cool. Yeah, Max, I can't brake. I can't enter corners. Well, that's a problem, isn't it? It's a problem. Yeah, Hamilton set another fastest lap, but you know, I think the two McLarens are just managing tyres. Oh, over the curb there for one of the Ferraris. Was that Charles Leclerc? He just mounted the curb in 6-7. Yeah, bloody David Moyes, man. What is he on, eh? Guys, sidebar. Watched Forrest Gump for the first time yesterday. I'd never seen it. Even I was surprised I'd never seen it. I just assumed I'd seen it. But apparently I hadn't. And as I said in my Twitter post, Jenny, what a piece of work she is, eh? I don't know how I'd not seen it. I just assumed I'd seen it. But I hadn't. Jenny, though. Man. Oof. Fast lap for Verstappen, 22.7. A second quicker than Hamilton. Carlos Sainz getting past Sergio Perez. New tyres, makes sense. You see Antonelli's move in the Formula 2. He won the feature race. It was a delight. I think it was like into turn 8, 9, or it might have been 10, but it was an absolute delight. Who? Carlos Sainz? I don't think Sainz will end up at Mercedes. Oh, sorry, Antonelli. Yeah, sorry. There is a chance of Antonelli going into that Mercedes seat. Yeah, he's been spoken about quite a bit as to whether he will or not. I don't know. He had a pretty bad start to the Formula 2 season. But from what I understand, the Prima team in Formula 2 had been struggling across the board with car setups. And so, yes, he'd been struggling, but it seems like the team was struggling. And he's actually come to his own a little bit. In Silverstone, he won the sprint race. And then he got punted out of the feature race. I don't know what happened in the sprint race for him yesterday, but he didn't score any points. And then he's won the feature race, so he's got some speed. Well, I think they've changed it now. They're going to allow it, as I understand it. I mean, no one's sending it into turn 4. Alonso and Stroll are running in 12th and 13th. Oof. Hmm. Yeah, Hamilton's pace has dropped off quite massively. So there's one or two scenarios here. He's just managing more, or he did burn through his tyres. He did a 23.4 last time across, whereas Norris did a 22.8, and Verstappen did a 22.6. So, yeah, his pace has massively dropped off. What have you missed? Piastri got ahead of Norris at the start. Max got ahead of Norris by going off track. He then had to give the place back. Hamilton got ahead of Carlos Sainz, and then Sainz also had some sort of meme where he got behind his teammate, Charles Leclerc. Hamilton and Norris pitted early. Verstappen pitted way after them. Now Verstappen's chasing down Hamilton. Norris had a throttle issue on grid and had to replace his throttle, but now he's absolutely fine. Yeah. Yeah, I think Hamilton's just burnt through his tyres, you know. He's absolutely just fucking smashed them. I can only assume that's what's happened. But why that would be the case, I don't know. They must have told him, take it easy. Like, they must have been like, hey, yeah, mate, just ease those in, yeah? Yeah, Perez back out in 15th on fresh tyres, though. Well, Perez has to stop again. Well, I say has to. Like, he's probably not getting to the end on that set of mediums, I wouldn't have thought. I imagine it'll be very similar for George Russell. He'll probably go medium as well. Charles Leclerc absolutely smashing it. Yeah, but the Hamilton's falling back from Norris as well, so like Norris is doing a 22.8. Last time around Hamilton did a 23.3. Verstappen did a 22.8 as well, so he's like half a second slower than Norris, and he's half a second slower than Verstappen as well. So he's either doing some sort of insane management, or he just ruined his tyres. But he's only been on those tyres for 13 laps, so... At the minute, I don't see anyone challenging McLaren. Like, their pace is more than strong enough, considering where Verstappen is now. Their pace is more than good enough. Piastri currently 4.5 ahead of Norris, who's 4.5 ahead of Hamilton. I think, honestly, looks very, very comfortable for them. Red Bull brought a very substantial upgrade package to this race. It's only on Max's car, but you'll notice the engine cover is very, very different. And apparently, this is a track-specific engine cover. They'll change the engine cover for high downforce circuits. The one that Perez is running will be predominantly ran on cars on tracks where they need top line speed. And the one that Max is running will be ran on tracks that primarily need higher downforce. Which is pretty wild to have like different aero specs for different... Obviously they have different front wings, rear wings, all that jazz. But to have a completely different aero spec on your engine cover for different tracks is pretty wild. Those tyres of George Russell's are certainly screaming, aren't they? Russell's been on those tyres now for 31 laps. Hamilton's sliding around quite a bit now. Hi, Boots. Yeah, the hooning is certainly... It's certainly hoon. Verstappen is now within DRS. He'll be past him, I think, on the pit straight. To be honest. Had a slow lap there, Piastri, though. He just did a 25.8. So Piastri must have had a problem there. Gap's only down to 2.7 seconds now. Piastri's had a problem, guys. 100% Piastri's had a problem. A 25.8 was Norris did 23.9. Gap's down to 2.4 seconds. I was lapping. He was lapping Ocon, I think. So he's lost time getting past Ocon. I mean, that is substantial time he's lost. He lost half of his lead. Russell pits. Norris is already passed. Yeah. Hmm. Oh my god, they're retiring Gasly. Oi, oi, oi. Alpine. Alpine. Oh, Hamilton's a massive lockup there. Yeah, Verstappen will be past here. There's a big old lockup. Oh, Max is off! LOL! LOL! How has he fucked that up? How has Max fucked that up? That was easy for him. Yeah, Lewis had a massive lockup. Uh, 1.5 seconds is the gap now to Piastri. Verstappen's now out of DRS and Charles Leclerc is only 2.3 seconds behind Verstappen. Hamilton's pace has been very, very, very poor the last 10 laps on these hard tyres. Verstappen's catching him, but also so is Charles Leclerc. Hmm. Yeah, because Hamilton's now 8 seconds behind Norris. Now, can someone explain to me what Mercedes' strategy was with George Russell? Because Perez was behind him, pitted, then they left Russell out, and now Russell's in 11th and Perez is in 8th. And Russell's now 3, 4, 5, 6, 6-ish seconds behind Sergio Perez. So by not covering off Perez when Perez pitted, he's now not only behind Perez, but he's like 5 positions behind him. Like what? Hmm. Norris is now only 1.3 seconds behind Oscar Piastri. Oi, 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 oi. So, yeah, okay, there we go. That makes sense. I feel like Max is going to send it in a minute, you know? Because Max looks like he's getting a bit annoyed. He's going to send it in a minute. I think Charles Leclerc is almost within DRS of Max Verstappen as well. Now, Charles Leclerc was like 8 seconds behind Hamilton after the other pit stops. So that's how poor this stint has been for Hamilton. Mercedes butchering their tyres, or Hamilton butchering his, certainly. Yeah, Verstappen obviously has more pace. It's just a bit of a struggle to get past. Hmm. Oh yeah, Tag. It's honestly hilarious the fact that he's like, oh yeah, we're allowed to push people off now. Are you having a laugh? You forgot what you've been doing for the past 5 years. They've just told Lewis to box, but he hasn't boxed. Oh, he was then told to stay out. Okay. Well, that wouldn't have come right at that point, though, will it? Well, it would have come around the lap somewhere else, but. Because Hamilton's only been on those tyres for 23 laps. If he was to stop now, he'd have to go the next stint for 30. Yeah, he did pit too early, you're right. Max is just, he's angry boy, isn't he? Why? Why mo nice? Shit. He's so tetchy. Lewis is boxing now. He is boxing. I think it's probably the right call. Yeah, Charles Leclerc's boxing as well. 2.8, 2.9. I mean, it depends for Hamilton. If he's on the hards again, which I assume he is, he needs to bring them in a little bit easier, I think. He absolutely hammered them on the first couple laps. I'm hoping they're going to tell him, listen, you know, just take it easy, mate, yeah? Did Leclerc come out on mediums? Yes, he did. That is a long way to go on mediums, isn't it? That is a long way to go on mediums. As we see Piastri going off, that's when he lost all that time. Okay. I mean, he's got to do 29 laps on those mediums. Oh, Verstappen is not happy. He's very angry. I mean, listen, I don't disagree with what he's saying. They basically let Hamilton undercut them, and that has cost him a lot of time. Very good chance Charles Leclerc will get past Hamilton then on the fresh mediums. Yeah, it's these hot temperatures, Welly. They don't seem too bad in cooler temperatures, but in the hot temperatures, they cook their tires definitely. They struggle in general, I think, in the hotter temperatures, and it is very very warm out there. Yeah, we did, but it's just gone off. Track temperature 47 degrees. Air temp 30. Track temp 47. So yes, it's a toasty surface. It's a toasty service. Service? Surface. Um Hamilton Verstappen is now lapping 7/10 of a lap quicker than Norris. Just gonna grab a water. Oh dear. Which excuse me. Which McLaren's going to win this race? I've been very impressed with Piastri today. I think he's had really good race pace. One of the things he's definitely struggled with. How's Russell getting on? So George Russell is now up to P8 behind Perez, but Russell's tyres are 11 laps old. And there's another 25 laps to go. So he'd have to do 36 laps on that set of mediums. That's not doable, is it? So presumably Russell's going to pit again for a set of hards. No, don't box Norris. That's bullshit. No. That's... No. The front car gets the call. That's bullshit. If he ends up ahead now, that's utter bullshit. Oh, he's already locked up. They literally said earlier they don't need to manage, they don't need to cover to Hamilton. They literally said that earlier. What tends to happen, Tag, is when you pit first, even by 2 laps, what happens is you get the fresh tyre. This isn't always the case. It depends on the track. You get the fresh tyre. You then are on the fresh tyre for 2 laps, and you're so quick on that fresh tyre that by the time your teammate or whoever else pits, you've gained like a net, say, 4 seconds or something on them. It only works usually on a medium. If you're on a hard tyre, it's a little bit worse because they take a while to get up to temperature. It all depends. They claim it's to cover Hamilton. That's what they said on the radio. But a byproduct of that means that he could end up ahead of Piastri when Piastri pits. What normally happens is you let the lead car choose. In this instance, though, they're saying it is to cover Hamilton. That's why they've done it, but we'll see. I don't think they needed to cover Hamilton that early anyway. Hamilton's 6 seconds behind Norris. They didn't need to cover it. And I honestly don't think they need to cover Verstappen as well, because I think he was too far behind. And he was on the same tyres as them and hadn't boxed. Norris is going to get the lead now because of this. It's bullshit. They could have boxed Piastri first and then Norris, and they would have been absolutely fine. That's not fair. If they don't invert the cars, I'll be fuming, man. Because that's bullshit. That's bullshit. That's just some nonsensical... Oh, yeah, we had to cover Hamilton. Nah, they want Norris to win. He's been told not to worry about Lando, so perhaps they're going to swap him. Considering how good his race has been, you'd be fuming seeing that coming out. You'd be absolutely fuming. Unless he's been told that they'll swap the positions back. Yeah, Hamilton's saying they stopped too short in the first stint, which I think most people would agree. You know, they stopped way too early in that first stint. The thing is, I think Hamilton's racing for 4th place anyway. And if he's not doing 30 on the hards, I don't think Leclerc's doing 30 on the mediums either. So I think, ultimately, I think... I don't think he'll be that worse off, you know? Oh, someone... Oh, God, Piastri. So they do want to swap the cars. In which case, that's fine. Verstappen is first, but he hasn't... he hasn't stopped. He's in pit stop. He's in pit stop first. So Verstappen still needs to stop. Presumably, Norris will let Piastri go, and then it's fair. Because it seems like they're going to swap the cars, in which case, absolutely fine. Because that's fair. And I'm happy that that's what they're going to do. Because if you're Piastri, you'd be pretty upset that they'd done that to you. Now they're boxing Max. Yeah, Lando is going to be a prick here. And he's just going to try and get up the road so that he won't have to give the position back. Because if he builds a huge gap, he'll then be like, "Oh, I can't slow down by 4 seconds. That's oh no." So Verstappen will be lightning quick now, and he'll get up to 3rd quite easily because Verstappen's on a fresh set of mediums, only 20 laps to go. He'll be in a really good position here. Charles Leclerc ahead of him has been on those medium tyres for all 9 laps now. Perez has stopped again, though. Russell hasn't. Hmm. Oh, that's such bullshit. The only reason he's 3.5 seconds ahead is because they gave him the undercut. So basically, they're like, yeah, we're going to give him. He was 2 seconds behind you. We're going to pit him first, give him the fresh tyres. He's now going to be 4 seconds ahead of you. So that's a net 6 seconds. You got to catch him, though, yeah? And then we'll give him back. Oh, fuck off. Like, they fucked Piastri there. Like, they fucked him, and they know they fucked him. They've absolutely fucked him. He was a couple of tenths quicker than him last time around, but not enough that he'll catch him anytime soon. Because then they'll use the excuse, oh, you didn't catch him, so we couldn't give the position back. That's... Yeah, I'm not having that, guys. I'm not having that. They have fucked him so bad. That is not on. It depends, and we're going to see what we're now going to see what Piastri's made of, whether he can close that gap or not. So we'll see. Lando on radio silence there. Like, oh, sorry, yeah, I didn't hear that call. Yeah. Even if Norris lets Piastri through, Norris is a wily fox. He'll stay pretty close to him. And Norris will go from having like a 2 to 3 second deficit to being within DRS of his teammate. And then he'll just put him under pressure. Whichever way you shape this, they've done Piastri a little bit dirty, I think. But let's see how it ends up. Oh, Max is he's so, that petulance hasn't gone, has it? Fucking hell, like, grow up. He just, look, whenever he's got an ounce of pressure, he just turns into that same fucking prick that he always was. Like, fucking relax, mate. I know he's passionate, and there's absolutely nothing wrong with that, but he's acting like the team have put him in last place or something. Like, you know what I mean? So George Russell, to be fair, with his strategy, has got up to 8th place, which I think is pretty good considering he started in 17th. So, you know, fair play. Ooh, Charles Leclerc. No. I thought he was going to dive there. I'm actually... Do you know what? I'm absolutely surprised he didn't dive down there. Oh, that UI just right in the middle. Yeah, good job. What would you do here if you were Lewis? Would you fall back and give Charles Leclerc DRS in the hope that it would keep Max in position? Or would you try and use... the time that they're fighting to pull out a gap. Uh, oh, Norris. Norris, I don't think is going to let Piastri through. Uh-oh. Norris was told to let Piastri back through, and he was said, well, you should have boxed him first then. I do blame him because... I know I do blame him. Because that's bullshit sportsmanship, that is. This is your teammate, and the only reason you're ahead of him is because the team put him at a disadvantage to help you out. The right thing to do is to then let him get back through and win it fairly. Like, I do blame him. It's bad sportsmanship. Because without the team doing that, he wouldn't be ahead of him. So, if he doesn't let him through... No, if you listen to their reasoning, though, Welly, they had to box Norris to cover from Hamilton. That's why they did it first. The byproduct of that is that he's ended up ahead of his teammate. I think they could have boxed Piastri and then Norris, and they'd have been just fine, personally. But, you know, they know what they're doing. Despite that, the right thing to do is to let your teammate back through. Hamilton's 9.3 seconds behind. There's 14 laps left. Even if Verstappen gets past Leclerc, which I think he will, I don't think he's going to be catching. I don't think he's going to put the McLarens under enough pressure that they need to worry about it. The right thing to do... Norris is obviously thinking from his own championship perspective, which I completely understand. But... oh, Verstappen got through. We didn't even see it from the right camera angle. What the fuck? Yeah, great directions. Lando's been told to not use the tyres as much, and he's ignoring it. You remember when Lewis was fighting for the championship, and it might have even been at this circuit, I can't remember. And he said to the team, tell Valtteri to let me through. If I can't catch the car ahead, I can't remember who it was now, I will let him back past. And he was fighting for a championship. And on the last corner, he let Valtteri back past. It's the right thing to do. It's the right thing to do. I don't even know why that's debatable. They fucked Piastri to help Norris. So the right thing to do is to unfuck the situation. I don't understand why that's even a debate. Like, I don't even... Norris, that would be a piss poor way to win a race from Norris, I think. That would be such a poor way to win a race. The team fucked your teammate to help you, and then you refused to let him back past. Like, I'd lose a lot of respect for Lando if he didn't let him back through. Norris is pushing. They're telling him he needs to manage his tyres, and Norris is like, nah, fuck off, I'm pushing. And he's pushing to build a gap so that he doesn't have to give the position back. Scummy. That's what that is. That is scummy behaviour. I understand it from his perspective. From a competitive racing perspective, I completely understand why he's doing it. But it is scummy. Piastri's let Norris through a couple of times as well. Maybe not in this type of situation, but he has. They keep telling him, and he keeps ignoring it. They keep telling him to manage tyres in certain corners, and he's not doing it. He's ignoring it. Now, yeah, I'd be so pissed off if I was Piastri. And do you know why? Because I think Piastri would be saying to Norris after the race, listen, why have you done that? Norris would just be like, not my problem. Because that's the sort of person I think Norris is. Hmm. I do think that they should have and could have boxed Piastri first. They could have boxed Piastri first and then Norris, and they would have both been fine. But, well, they would, Current, because we've literally, like, it's not about that. It's not about the easy win. You can't look at it like that. The only reason you're winning is if it's between you and your team, and the only reason you're ahead of your teammate, and you've not been ahead of him all race, is because your team fucked him to help you. They fucked him so that you stayed ahead of another car. And then when they're like, yeah, let's invert now, then now that's all dealt with. He's like, nah, I don't think so. I mean, that's just fucking cunt behavior. That is top level twat behavior. No matter how competitive you are, your two teammates, that's not a good look. I don't think. Now, I think Verstappen will be past Hamilton by the end of the race. Oh, Norris is such a twat. He knows what he's doing. He knows what he's doing. He's like, oh, tell him to catch up then. But he's smashing the tyres, knowing that won't happen. Oh, it's scummy, but there you go. That's not a good way to win a race. That's not a good way to win a race. I don't like it. I do not approve. Piastri deserved this one. He's raced it. He's raced it well all day. Oh, a little touchy. No, not quite. Just about. The problem is Piastri's now falling back. He's been going through a lot of traffic. There's no more traffic, I don't think, for either of them for a little bit. There is Ricciardo, Stroll, Alonso, Tsunoda a little bit up the road. But Piastri has been a little bit slower because of that. I mean, there was loads of room. I don't know what they're moaning about. Oh, shouldn't you leave a card? Is this... Yellow flag? Where's that yellow flag? It was temporary. He's even being told by GP, yeah, you weren't ahead, Max. Oh! They made cut. That's a huge fucking dive. That's a huge fucking dive. What a moron. What a moron. Oh, that is 100% on Max, isn't it? Social media will be blaming Lewis Hamilton for that. Oh, Norris, don't. Oh, Norris is a prick. Nah, Norris is a prick. Nah. Nah. All respect gone for Norris. The way he's acting now is full respect. Full respect gone. Nah. I mean, he wasn't making the corner, was he? Jesus Christ. Jesus. That has to be a penalty for Max. I mean, that he's coming absolutely steaming, hasn't he? Oh, he moved under braking. What the fuck? GP very much calling him childish. Yeah, GP's like handled that really well, by the way. I mean, it's honestly like, yeah, that honestly, that's Max has been petulant all day. We said earlier that a dive was coming when he was behind Hamilton for the first time. Remember, he was getting so fucking fed up. We thought a dive was coming then. Norris has lost all of my respect. I don't care. The way he's acted here after what Piastri has done, nah, it's not cool. He's been asked, they've pleaded with him on the radio. They've absolutely pleaded with him. Please, Lando, it's not fair. Please remember this. They've asked him. They're like, we did this in order and we expected you to give the position back. And that, Norris, that was not my problem. They've asked him over and over again and he's refused. And that's not. Now, Hamilton's 14 seconds behind. They could easily invert the cars. Verstappen's in 5th. You could argue that if Verstappen gets a penalty, Norris will want that win more. He'll want those extra points even more. But still, I wouldn't want to win this way. I wouldn't want to win this way. Well, yeah, he's pulling away because he's been told to manage tyres just like Piastri, and he's been ignoring it. He just ignored it. And Piastri isn't going to get 6 seconds in 4 laps, is he? So... They literally told him the way to win a championship is not on your own. It's with a team. You're going to need Oscar. They're literally pleading with him and he's refusing. It's not how... This isn't how you go racing. It's not how you go racing. If he let him through earlier, he would be able to get back past him. I don't think he's going to do it. I don't think he's going to do it, guys, at all. But there you go. I don't think he's going to do it. Do you think Verstappen will get a penalty for that incident? I mean, I am expecting him to get one, to be honest. But he's backing off. He is backing off. He's backing off. He is doing it. He's finally doing it. I'm happy. I am so happy he's done that. And now he's going to pass him under DRS and then say, fuck you. It was the right thing to do. Now just go pass him. He got past you at the start. He built a lead. He was ruined in the pit stops. It was the right thing to do. Like, if you'd have done it 15 fucking laps ago, he'd have had that whole time to get past him. Like, it was stupid to leave it so long. He could have let him through, done the team orders, then passed him and be like, GG. I let him through and then I passed him, which would have been fine. Like, the fact that he's left it so late means he's got much less time to get back past him. I feel like everyone's super grumpy on the radio during this race. I mean, the team radio has been something else. It's been wild. If Verstappen gets a 5-second penalty, which I think is possible, he would end up in P6. Only a position ahead of Sergio Perez. That'd be something, wouldn't it? So listen, and then you'd have to say Perez doing his job, finishing right behind Max Verstappen. Perez would be like, what are you talking about? Finish right behind Max. That's what you want from me, isn't it? Perez has done him and Russell have kind of ran an uneventful race based on strategy, but they've ended up P7 and 8, which is the most I think they could have possibly expected without a safety car. So, yeah, I just don't get it, man. If Norris would have given this up like 5, 6, 7, 8 laps ago, he'd have had a chance to really put Piastri under pressure. He left it so late. He's only got himself to blame, honestly. Yeah, I do agree, McLaren caused this issue by pitting Norris first when I don't think they had to. I don't think they needed to pit Norris first. I really don't. I think based on what we're seeing with the pace, I know it's a hard track to overtake on. We've seen that. I don't think they needed to pit Norris first. I think they could have pitted Piastri, then Norris the lap after, and they would have both still come out ahead of Lewis, I think. Ah, Norris is giving it up now. What a weird end to the race. What a weird, weird end to the race. Well, he's going to win. It's a weird end, though. Oscar Piastri wins. I think if it wasn't for that undercut, I think Piastri would have had the best chance to win that race. Do you disagree, or? I think without the undercut from Norris on Piastri, I think Piastri would have been... I think he had the pace all day. I wonder what you guys think about it. Yeah, great result for Hamilton. He managed to survive the bomb from Verstappen into third. I mean, that is more than what Mercedes would have expected, I think. Perez finished ahead of Russell in 7th. Russell in 8th. Tsunoda rounds out the points with Stroll. The problem here is that last stint, Norris did have really good pace. So Norris had such good pace at the end there that yeah, I mean, listen, Norris's message at the end there was, you know, well, it's a bad way. It's an odd way to win, I should say, because he had to fucking fight for his teammate to do the right thing. It's weird. I mean, even if they gave Max a 10-second penalty for that incident, he would still, it wouldn't change his finishing position. Like a 5-second penalty puts him behind Sainz, and so does a 10-second. So the very worst for Verstappen is moving from 5th to 6th. But ultimately, he would have been 4th or 3rd or 4th, wouldn't he? So yeah, he has won a sprint race, but this is his first feature race. I do think the second stint, or that final stint, if he'd have been quicker in that final stint. So there's two sides to this. One, I think Norris should have given the position up earlier, and then he would have been able to repass Piastri. That's what I think. But the right thing to do was to give him the position back. But I think he should have done it earlier, and then I think he would have had the pace to get past him. Because that final stint, Piastri's pace wasn't great compared to Norris. So yeah, very, very, very interesting. Ben Slayam, yeah, looking just getting involved there. Yeah, Lando is looking a little bit salty. I mean, I can understand that. You know, I can completely understand why he's upset. You know, completely. Lewis, how is George doing? George is currently P8, closing on Perez. Hamilton, good lad. Hmm. It just, I think, I think it's not a great look for McLaren though, is it? The whole, like the strategy and then this whole conversation on the radio. I don't think it's great, a great look for McLaren, is it? Yeah, I agree. I do think this whole situation was avoidable. I think they could have just pitted Piastri first and then Norris. Norris came out 4.5 seconds behind Lewis, ahead of Lewis, sorry. So they had at least another lap he could have pitted and he would have still been ahead. Because Lewis wasn't 4 seconds a lap quicker. They could have pitted Piastri, then pitted Norris, and it'd have been fine. And likewise, if Norris let Piastri back straight after the stops, he would have had 10, 15 laps to get back past him, which I think he probably would have done. By him being so petulant and not doing it until like 3 laps from the end, he's actually ruined himself. He could have let him through and then gone, okay, I did my duty, I let him back through, all's fair now, and then he could have got back past him. Well, Norris and Piastri seem to be chatting and getting on, so. To be fair, I think Norris's argument was with the team rather than Piastri. You know, his argument was with the team and why, you know, which I also understand. Um, yeah, there we go. There we go, kids. Look, that was an interesting race, but for different reasons than Silverstone was interesting. But it was good. I enjoyed it. Next weekend is I think Spa's next weekend, isn't it? We had a triple and then a double. I think we do, and then it goes to the break. Yeah, Spa next weekend. Love Spa. Yeah, so Spa next weekend. Looking forward to that. And then there's a big break, pretty much for all of August. Yeah, so we'll see. Right. Um, yeah, there we go. Golf all the way. Yeah. Got to try and now watch the end of the Open. I caught some of it today, but I haven't watched. I haven't seen who's. I think the main lads went out about an hour ago, didn't they? Let's go off there. So you're just going to see the golf mixed in with that. Horschel, Rose. Yeah, so they're doing all right. Lowry had an absolute fucking mare yesterday, but he's 3 under so far. Scheffler 2 under. I mean, there's a group of about 8 players that could win. Wild, isn't it? So yeah, keep an eye on that golf. Yeah, and I'll be back tomorrow. Yeah, I did look at the weather forecast and it seemed like it was going to be a little bit nicer there today. Is it a little bit nicer? Because I mean, it was rough. I watched it on the TV yesterday, and I looked at it and I said to Joe, I said, "Oh, look at that!" And it was, it was fucking horrible. Rough. Right, I will see you guys tomorrow. Have a lovely weekend. Watch the end of the golf. Live your best life. Hope you're feeling better, Adam. I enjoyed the Formula Ones. I've got to go fit a new heating element to my oven, which tripped the electric yesterday and now has stopped working. That's fun. And I'll see you on the flip side. Goodbye.